1791. I remember it like it was yesterday. There they were, ratifying it right into the Constitution, part of the Bill of Rights, the right to bear arms. And no, folks, I'm not talking about grizzlies. We're talking about firearms, baby. And this one actually might get a little sad, a little serious, and a little scary. Let's talk about guns.
So I'm Dan.
And I'm Nick, folks.
We're old friends dissecting one topic at a time. People, technology, media, we've got it all covered.
Each discussion here is a deep dive into our unique perspective. The taboo, forbidden subjects, they're all on the chopping block, baby. We don't pander to popular opinion. We might even get a little bit dirty.
Warning, this podcast may contain mature language and sexual content, and is for infotainment purposes only.
Woo! So join us. Have a good time.
Open up your ear holes, because we're going to fondle your follicles.
Open up those ear holes.
Alright, so I am Dan.
And I'm Nick, folks.
Welcome to the podcast.
Welcome to the podcast. It's kind of a heavy topic. I don't know why you're smiling.
I saw something
Thought it
that
was
was
a
so
good joke?
grotesque. No, it was awful. I
Oh,
felt
did you?
terrible through the beginning of that because right before this, I watched Bud Dwyer.
Yeah.
Do you know who Bud Dwyer is? Like
Sounds
1970s representative who was found guilty of.
You saw that?
Yeah, he committed suicide on
And
camera.
I never looked it up. Yeah, on camera. I never looked it up.
Oh, he's
Is
so
it crazy?
calmly. He has like a manila envelope. He hands out a bunch of envelopes. He hands a bunch of them out to his, like, I guess his constituents or his friends or lawyers or whatever, just so calmly.
Holy crap.
And then he pulls a gun out of a manila envelope and just shoots himself on live camera. And it just immediately, it's like, he goes from very calm to like, no, don't, stay back, or nothing's gonna happen to you people. And then he just writes through the mouth and he's done, and he's just gushing blood. It's the most grotesque thing I've ever seen.
That's wild. I never saw it. And I know that it's a video, so I know I could find it online. I did search it one day, and it was on my phone. I couldn't find it. This is like 3 years ago.
Mm-hmm.
And now I know I could, and I probably will at some point, but I don't want to right now. And I wish I didn't, but I'll do it.
Yeah, I don't. It's one of those, like, faces of death. You know, you look away, and you don't want to, like, it's horrific to think someone is alive and conscious and making decisions and then gone.
Right. It's a whole network of things that stops right there. Weird.
Yeah.
Well, we can't talk about death so much in this episode, because I think we probably have either a whole nother episode on death that'll probably come up.
Yeah, I just wanted to start with that note because I saw that video and I was just like,
yeah, that's wild. I never saw it.
I will bring with a quote from him right before he did that. I think it was the day before. It says, "I enjoy being with Joe, his wife, so much. The next 20 years or so would have been so wonderful. Tomorrow is going to be so difficult, and I hope I can go through with it." Because he was at a press conference.
Damn.
And he was really not talking about the press conference.
Yeah, well, of course not. Well, he was. It was at the press conference.
I guess.
He did do the press conference. In fact, he did it better than anyone's ever done one before. Not better.
So
for the record,
appropriate.
folks. I mean, we
have to crack the air a little bit.
We have to. So, real quick, the Second Amendment. So, we're not just talking about firearms in general, because I feel like... Did you look up when the first gun ever was made?
It was like by the Chinese in the 1000 era. They had a band
And it was
to
just
shoot
like
with
gunpowder with like a...
Because gunpowder is really the deal.
Makes things...
Yep. And then...
Makes things shoot out. You need a tiny little hole to force it through real fast. Ba-ting! Physics, baby.
Yeah.
Gives you a lot of advantages. You don't even have to throw the damn thing. You just light it and point it and boom.
Yeah.
Fast moving projectile. Boom.
I agree. You're waiting for me to respond.
I wasn't sure. I wasn't sure if you were
quote.
giving me... Oh, the Second Amendment. So here we go. It's literally just, I think, the Second Amendment to the United States Constitution protects the individual right to keep and bear arms. It was ratified on December 15th, 1791 as part of the Bill of Rights. Oh, my God. It's just weird because then you look at guns in 1791. Have you seen this?
Yeah. What type of gun were they talking about back then? It was like a militia style, like one shooter.
Here's what firearms looked like back in 1791, and let's scroll down a little. It's a beautiful musket. I mean, it's actually kind of beautiful, but wow, it's pretty. It looks like it could hold one musket ball at a time.
Pretty gun.
Ah, 45 rounds a minute. Wow.
What size bullet? Did it have a bullet listed there?
It's a musket, so I'm not sure. A 1 round capacity could fire around 3 effective rounds per minute if you were good. If you're
good.
really good.
Holy shit.
If you're really good. Most people probably weren't that good. It's probably like 1 per minute. It's probably the average. Oh, accuracy range had to be within 50 meters.
Huh. And the
Not bad.
caliber of a musket is 12 to 23 millimeters.
Wow. I didn't know that.
Yeah.
And you had to look down the barrel and kind of just eye it up and be like,
Yeah, I don't know. What was the inaccuracy of a musket?
oh, Lord, it's terrible. I mean, if you're more than 7 feet away, you're probably going to miss. Is probably what happens.
That's
The eyeball controls place.
the old style of war that you see. The not the
That's
Civil
stupid. How did no one invent the rear sight? Like the thing that you aim down?
War. Maybe they didn't
Muskets
need it back
and stuff
then
didn't
'cause they're
have
so
one.
good at it.
No, they were bad at it. I mean, it's like scientifically. They had cannons too, which cracked me up. Oh,
Firing
people
cannons
owned
into
sets of dueling pistols back then, so that if you really got into an argument and some guy was really like smacking your wife's butt, like you're like, buddy, I got something. Let's bring it out. Let's go. That's awesome. Arms is open to interpretation. Some people say it should be cannons too. Oh, good point. So the idea behind it is a well-regulated militia being necessary for the security of a free state is a right to keep people to bear arms so they shall not be infringed.
Yeah.
Whoa, duh. So the whole idea was behind this whole idea, the right to bear arms, is so that the government couldn't be so powerful that they could do anything to you. You could fight back.
Yeah, and this is right around when, the British we just beat, so they invaded.
We
the reason
just
we
beat,
won
but same
was
idea.
militia-style attacks. Because before it was you stand in rows and you fired your muskets at each other.
Screw that. That's the worst idea I've ever heard in my life.
Yeah. I wouldn't. I'd be like
a terrible idea.
Running from that battlefield.
Yeah, no, not at all. So, boom, gunpowder. We're shooting muskets, all this stuff. Like back then, if the government was coming for you, they'd probably send us several people. You could probably fend them off or something with a musket of your own. I don't know, 2 muskets and your son.
It kind of goes to like the Wild West. It's kind of the shooting rapid. I think the revolver is the Wild West.
Revolver is the the whole 6-shooter as we often refer to them as. Yeah.
But like having the skill to take down multiple people, it was plausible back then.
It was plausible, but not likely. Well, I mean, multiple at a time.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Like, because it takes a minute to load the thing.
Fire, yeah.
Yeah. You can't fire more than 1 per half a minute, whatever you want to call it. And I mean, it sort of makes sense. Like, it shouldn't be illegal to protect yourself, right? Even nowadays, it shouldn't be illegal to protect yourself. But technology has come a long way. What did you say?
From what? From a person with a knife, their fists, another gun?
I guess. I mean, there's stand your ground laws and stuff like that. So let's fast forward a little bit. So you're allowed to have guns. Government has guns. You have guns. You can protect yourself, protect your family. Nowadays, guns have come quite a long way. Is that where we want to go right now?
Yeah, we can go to...
They're like semi-automatic now. Holy crap. You can! Okay. Look! No, there's a rule.
There's a rule?
Yeah, watch.
I guess you do have, but... Yeah, I don't know.
Oh, you have to. No, it's not getting us banned. Look. Ta-da! You're supposed to look.
You're supposed to also have a yellow thing in it if you... Like if you go to a gun range.
That's a safety thing. Yeah, I know. So this is a Sig Sauer P226 Extreme Edition, right? As someone might know, I'm actually someone who owns a couple firearms. Not like a dozen.
I own a handgun myself.
Do you? Good on you. This one has a short reset trigger. It's good. Oh, did you cheap out?
High point.
This is Sig Sauer. This is like a nice one.
Point.
Good weight to it. It's beautiful. These things feel cool. Like there's something about guns.
When was the last time you fired that gun?
So that's what I was going to say. It's starting to rust. It just sits in a gun safe behind me back here,
Mine
and I
does
don't.
too.
But that being said, once in a while I will go with my friends and or my parents. We'll go to the gun range like once a year or once every couple of years, and just fire off some bullets. It's kind of, I don't know. It's like fun to do. Have you ever?
It's interesting.
When's the last time you went?
Probably like 5 or 6 years ago. It was a while ago. It is interesting and fun because like there's maybe an anxiety and a nervousness that happens when you fire a gun because you never did it before and you don't realize the power. Have you fired a rifle before?
Kick. Yeah.
It's
shotgun too.
Yeah, it's amazing. So like the difference between like a handgun and a rifle is like night and day. Where if you're scoping something
between different rifles and different handguns.
Yes,
the difference. So that's a charge. What's crazy is there's different ammunitions. That's usually how you go by your gun.
Grain.
What was your
size.
Firearm? Yeah. No, not just the grain, the size. The size of the bullet. Was yours 9?
Yeah. 9mm.
Okay. The other, so then it starts at like, where's the numbers? Jesus Christ.
Should we do all the calibers? You want to go through that?
Under the gun. You could. I mean, just because it's interesting to see how they go. It starts with millimeters for the smaller ones, and then we move up to.
Hold on a second. Let me get an official list.
Maybe 40 is actually millimeter too.
Yeah.
And do it in order, interestingly enough.
I'll do it in order. The smallest one is 4mm. So I think those are like.
That's ridiculous. That's like smaller than a BB, or is that a BB?
Yeah, I think that's smaller than a Ruger, and I think the Ruger's what is that the classic one that like the women would carry?
Yeah. What
around?
is it? What's it called? What? Give me the number.
0.204.
22.
5mm.
Oh, 204.
And then it goes up. There's a bunch of them up to 12. 12.7 millimeters, which is a 0.5, half an inch caliber for like a magnum, Smith & Wesson magnum. And there are larger calibers, but they're, I don't know if they're legal or not. And military calibers, like giant rifles.
No, I think there is a limit on where they become legal and illegal. The biggest that it might be a civilian carry might be 45. As far as handguns, sorry, that's different because that's handgun. Handgun goes up to 45. I don't know if there's anything larger than that. I mean, they say Desert Eagle 5.0, or is that legal? I don't even know.
I thought a Desert Eagle was a type of like close to a magnum.
It is. It's a brand. Like they make different ones. I'm sure you can get different things.
You are right. The half an inch caliber is the largest caliber you can buy in the U.S. without dealing with NFA rules.
National Firearms Association?
That sounds about right. National Firearms Act.
Oh. But I mean, so on the positive note, I will say firearms, which I already showed you the empty clip, they're cool. They holds like 15 bullets. Like, whoa, you can fire it. Once you fire it, it goes into short reset mode. At that point, it's easier to do a trigger pull, and you can almost rapid fire. It's not automatic, but it's ping, 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 ping. You could do that. You go into a range, you pay $20 to rent it. So you got to buy protective eyewear. You wear earwear. You're all nervous because like you don't do this very often. You go in the range and you're kind of unsettled by all the loud noises in there. And it's you and your friend or you and your whoever. And you're in there. And the very most important thing is to point the firearm this way. Never point it at yourself. Never point it to the left. Never point it to the right. So the whole time you're trying to remember what the button is to feed it and the magazine and the release button and everything. You're always pointing it this way. And you're really nervous. And I feel like there's an air of who's going to touch it, who's going to load it. Like there's a weirdness to the whole thing.
Yes.
And then you do it, and the first shot, you look down the sights, and you're like, you're squeezing because you're ready to shoot, but you got to do it harder. You don't realize it. And you're like, damn it. This moment is lasting forever. Damn it, I'm doing it. Damn it. And then, it shoots, and you're like, whoa, that was cool. And you'll do it 5, 10 more times, 15 times, however many you put it in the.
And there's a seriousness to it too, as well. I mean, there's like a giddiness to it. You want to take pictures and like
both.
Yeah.
You want to giggle about it. There's something.
You want to empty a clip really fast, but people be like, no, don't do that. You're not supposed to.
Come on. You can tell when you're a rookie probably because you're all tense and weird anyway.
Yeah.
Like if you go later in the week, like I did one later in the week, I was like a pro. I would walk in, I was nervous. I was like, do this, loaded it. You're aiming at the parts of the paper. You're comparing yourself to the other guy. Hey, can I load your gun? You load mine. We'll borrow. It's cool. It's like communal. There's something fun about it. Sporty.
It's there's a style to like being a hunter
A
in the
gunman.
wilderness, or like tactical, or
Yeah.
like there's
Hmm.
different flavors of it. And I think people get into the
Absolutely.
style just like it was any other event.
Very much. Like you can make it a lifestyle.
Yes, 100%.
But it is fun. It's cool. It's sporty. It costs a little bit. There's different flavors of price. You can bottom dollar. You can pay more for it. It's crazy. It's just like these little things. Bullets, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
Do you know this kind of bullet's actually illegal in New Jersey?
In New Jersey, is that
Hollow point.
it's not it's a hollow point? I thought hollow points were illegal everywhere.
No, not in PA. Trust me, I bought it in the gun shop. If anyone's going to be all top bothered.
I'm curious where that's because that's so the hollow point is intended to separate on impact and split, and
It's
it
the little ridges or
makes
whatever. I
it
have
more
no idea.
lethal because you can't get the pieces out and it tears up your flesh even more.
Well, yeah, and once it hits, it expands. So the force expands, it moves outwards. It's nasty stuff. But I only have one thing of hollow points, and I mean, we can get into the whole mindset of why I bought it.
Why
I'm not
did
a
you buy that?
gunman.
Yeah,
Exactly.
it's cool,
So
kind of in a way, I guess.
exactly, it's cool and
It's
weird
an
and
area you
creepy.
don't.
And
Yeah, and the power you have in
so
your hand.
I've had the hollow points since I bought them. I never fire them because you don't use them at the range, and they're kind of the self-defense idea. Like it's the stopping power because if someone's on PCP, someone who's a gun advocate will tell you, and they're coming at you, you can shoot them with a 9mm bullet, and they will keep coming. They'll go through that. It won't stop them physically.
Yeah.
You looking for a wasp or something there?
I used to have a stack of bullets actually here.
Did you? That's not good that you don't know
think
where they are, but
when I had my child, I decided I
you
should
moved
put
them all
them
out.
all higher up or in a safe.
Yeah, or in the safe, and now you're hoping it's in the safe.
I'm pretty sure it's in the safe. No, I know it's in the safe.
But no, it's wild. I actually have a permit to concealed carry if I want to.
Oh, nice.
I mean, I never really have. It's just like I always was like, if I needed to, that'd be cool, and I got it. And you have to do clearances, so it's not very easy. It's you got to go down to the
You do training
courthouse.
too?
No, I didn't have to do any training though.
You don't have to
Seriously.
prove that you know how to fire a gun.
No.
Not at all.
I just have to get clearances from the government,
That you
local,
haven't,
state, and federal.
We can touch
Go ahead.
on.
Do you have it?
There's a. Let me rotate through this. Give me a minute. There's a gun act of I think 19.
Not. It's not easy and it's not hard. And now is that across the entire United States? Because what gets me wild is that every state has different gun laws.
Yes. So there's a gun act of.
So like
19.
I can't bring this firearm into New Jersey at all. Like I can't.
Gun Control Act of 1968.
Ah, that's what I thought it was. Go ahead.
It prohibits a certain type of people to own a gun and have a gun. Actually,
Mentally ill,
let me go through the list.
criminal record. Okay.
It's a little bit more. There are actually like 9 parts to it, which is kind of interesting. It's also interesting that like if you have a green card, you can have a gun. It's like if you're not
Really?
Yeah, you're not illegal. And here are the following: you can't be convicted of a crime and serve a term for more than 1 year. You can't be a fugitive. You can't be addicted to a controlled substance. You can't be mentally defective or committed to a mental institution.
That's good.
An alien, an illegal alien.
An alien.
You can't be discharged from the armed forces under dishonorable conditions. You can't have it if you've renounced your citizenship.
Good point.
And court restrains, like restraining orders. If you're
Ah,
harassing,
that makes
stalking,
sense.
threatening any person or child. Let me see if there's anything else in there that's convicted of misdemeanor crime of domestic violence.
Wait, that's in there?
Yeah. You can't.
Oh, that's
have
cool.
Yeah.
Because they said that was one of the leading causes, which we'll get into later. But yeah. So I mean, it's not easy to get a gun, but it's not that hard either. I mean,
Yeah.
even buying these, I would be in the store. I know my family works in like a bad part of the city. They're getting older. They're targets because they look different than everyone there. People might think they have a lot of money. No, I'm serious. I mean, think about it.
Yeah, there's
If you're strung
perception
out,
difference in
there's a
yeah.
perception. I mean, hey, the white store down the corner. Why don't you rob them? I've never heard anyone say that. I would hope no one would ever say that. But if one person does, I don't know. Do they? I don't know.
So have you ever had an opportunity to use your gun, or ever thought about it? No.
Not really.
Do you think you'd be prepared if the opportunity happened?
No, not at all.
So
it's not like you know when it's going to happen.
Yeah. Is there a situation where you think you would use it?
Yeah, I think if somehow it was on me, because I don't carry it on me, it's locked up in a safe anymore. But so rewind a little bit. So I bought this and another one back when it was cool to shoot. I was thinking of going hunting. You have one on you in case a bear comes at you. I don't know. That sounded like
I swear to God, someone told me. How many shots can a bear take? Probably a lot.
Probably a lot. But it might scare them off too. I mean, or piss them off. Anyway, and I got my concealed carry permit, and I would go into the city and do deliveries, and I could have it on me. And one day, I had it on me in a pouch that sit over here and like here, and it was the worst thing in my life. Like, I always knew it was there. It was weird. I was trying to carry boxes and move stuff, and all I could do was feel it move, and it was heavy, and it was in the way. I was wondering if people, and I was wondering if people could see it. Like, it felt weird. At one point, I was like, I'm going to leave it. And I was like, oh, I can't leave it in the vehicle. It's a loaded firearm. Jesus Christ. Then I was like, what do I do with it?
You kept it loaded next to your crotch? This is a Burris?
Yeah, I guess it was. Yeah, it was.
Mexico Burris had
it was. Yes, he had one go off and shoot himself in the foot.
In a club. In
New York, where firearms are illegal to be held by the average individual. So he literally shot himself in the foot and got suspended for a year.
Idiot.
No, but you don't keep one in the chamber is also an idea. So you have to cock it back to. Yes. But no, I had this thing on me, and it was such a pain in the ass and so weird, and I was always conscious of it that I was just like, no. Like even if I saw a crime happen, I don't know that I'd know who to point a gun at. Like,
yeah,
people are screaming, everyone's going crazy. I have a firearm. I can control the situation. I get out. Everyone's still screaming. I don't know who's the assailant. I don't know who's in trouble.
Are you the assailant now? Because you have a gun out.
Yeah.
That's one of the training points.
Know.
You don't pull it out unless you know you're going to use it.
And then
you have your target directly in front of you.
Yeah,
and you probably don't want them.
Going back to my safe. I
want
to go shooting, but anyway. Oh, but anyway, I mean, there was this phase where I bought 2, let's say, and one's still at that shop, and
so was there
resting in a safe?
Background check?
Yeah, so they make you wait there for like 20 minutes, and they do a background check that goes to federal and maybe state levels. Yeah, maybe.
Yeah,
they check to see who you are. You have to have your ID, everything else. But it's a cool experience. You're in the gun shop. You're looking at all these cool things. You're like, I like that. I like that. I don't know.
It is different than anything else. National Instant Crime Background Check System. Now, I think Texas is different, because I don't believe that this background check system happened for me. I don't recall it. I remember going to the store. The guy already knew what I wanted. I don't even know if I think I gave him my ID. Maybe he recorded
who I was. Did you point to it? You're like, this one? Yeah. I mean, he may have checked your ID via that.
Yeah, I don't know. He might have, because I did like ask him for it ahead of time. So I'm not sure how much he went through. So if someone's like listening, they're like, "Oh, that's illegal. Let's go get this guy." I don't know that this happened. It doesn't feel like it happened. I don't have a background that's
it may have been quick.
Me. Yeah,
they may have checked it out. May have done whatever.
It is an instant criminal background check system. So
it's got to take 10 minutes though. But anyway,
why doesn't this happen for everybody?
Well, you know the loophole or whatever? The gun show loophole?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
If you buy it at a gun show, you don't need to. I don't
know. Make any sense.
Or the other loophole is where if you are selling it privately, like you're not a licensed gun store, you can just sell it to whoever you want. They don't need to do a background check.
You have to No, but there is a transfer system that has to happen. You have to have it transferred, at least in PA.
In certain states.
Oh, is that true?
But you don't want a gun that's been sold to you to show up in a shooting.
Oh my God, that's a super federal crime. Yeah,
that sounds terrible.
Exactly. It sounds terrible. The other thing to think of is, I forget. Wow, I was in the middle of a sentence.
So what's I guess the fantasy of owning a gun allows you to protect your home, right? So that's the instance
or
where
your family, or stop crime. Like if you saw someone with a gun and a ski mask,
life.
Stop, freeze! Like you would be the hero. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Do you think you would
And
actually?
would I do it? I don't know. I would just hope the threat of having the gun
Would you even
save
like
the day.
be able to get to your gun? Like you keep it in a safe. Do you think you'd be able to open the safe
Oh
before someone
no,
who's in
not
your
at
house?
all. Oh my god,
Yeah.
no. If someone invaded my house, no, I'm dead. That doesn't matter.
Yeah, you're probably not
They'd be
gonna
like, he
wake up
had a
until they're
firearm.
outside,
Like,
and then you have what?
yeah.
Maybe 30 seconds before. I don't think I can get to my
Not
safe.
even. I'm trying to figure out what the hell's happening. I'm not running to my gun safe, for Christ's
You're
sake.
wondering if your
Wait,
girlfriend or
something?
wife. Yeah.
Yeah.
They might be
And
getting
then
pretzels.
my kid is okay. Like, what's going on? Who's doing what? Is someone in here? Can I check on them? Is it a stranger? Is it a big guy? Is it a small child? Are they lost?
Mhm.
And then by then, boom. It's already too late. I did not run directly for my gun safe. No. So
Let's let that dwell in. Let that dwell. Let that dwell.
right. Listen, it is what it is, and I
Yes.
think it's cool to own one. And wait, if the apocalypse happens, that's a cool fantasy. Like if the government breaks down and everything, I have firearms. That's kind of cool.
Yeah, you can survive. Maybe.
Yeah. Well,
With
it'll
a
help.
handgun,
It can't
yeah.
hurt.
I
With a
do.
handgun.
Since I do live in Texas, there are a bunch of people that have guns, have lots of guns, and the best way I've heard is that some people have the gun in a safe that's like either by fingerprint or like a couple numbers right next to where they sleep, and they have it preloaded so they can just pull it out immediately. Like if someone's in their bedroom, that freaks me out. That's like having a knife under your
too
pillow.
much, dude. No, it's worse than having a knife under your pillow. Here's the thing. Like I know some people who either claim to or really do sleep with a gun under their bed or something, and it's like no. And I get it. That's where it's going to be to get to the quickest. But I wake up half the time. I don't know. Is my alarm going off? Like I don't know where I am or what's going on. I'm groggy. It just happens.
How could you calm down to sleep with that under your pillow? I would be nervous of it just like falling
knowing
off the
it's
bed
there?
and triggering it. Yeah.
Right. You get well. I had that weird thing when I carried it around.
You dropped it and you're just like, oh god.
Oh my god! Oh my god! Oh my god! I'm gonna bump it! I'm gonna bump it! And they have safeties and stuff like that, but you still that's scary stuff. And again, I love shooting. I had a good time. I've been out in the woods. We shot pistols off a balcony at some stumps, and then we did rifles.
Mhm.
And the rifle, I'd never shot one. And I was looking down the sight. I don't know which kind it was, and I was like, they were like, careful, it kicks a lot. And I was like, that's fine. I'll be fine. No, it kicks a lot. I said, I'll be fine. I'll be fine. They said it kicks a lot, and I shot it, and it hit me right on the nose, but like this much. And I know that's hard to explain, but like it just tipped my nose. And I was like, and they were like, "Did you hit yourself in your nose?" I was like, "No, I lied because it didn't really hit me real hard. It like barely grazed me, but if it
push the mic back a little bit, like an inch.
Oh, I'm sorry.
You got excited.
It scared the hell out of me. Yeah, when I get excited, I get loud. Boom, and I go off like a rah.
Yeah.
And then I did a shotgun, and that rocks your shoulder. But all these things.
I haven't shot a shotgun, but I want to.
Dude, it's cool, and I was so ready for that when it didn't, knock me down or anything. But all these things are cool in a sense because it's like in a scientific, jock, fun guy, exploding way. Yeah, that's where it's cool. But to make it part of your everyday life, it kind of scares me.
It's tedious.
Yeah, too much. It's tedious. It's scary. Like there's not as much reward as there is risk.
Yes.
Can we touch on the risk?
Yeah. Which one do you want to touch on first? Children?
Oh,
that's the biggest one.
Is it?
I think so. I mean,
it makes sense.
Accidental deaths by gun were like equal to the intentional deaths by gun. You don't have.
No way. Do you know how many? Did you have suicides in there?
Yeah. I think
Did you know the highest rate of death by firearm is suicide?
Yeah.
By a large margin. Do you know what the margin is? Dude, it's ridiculous. It's like 50% of all deaths are suicide. And do you know of people who commit suicide?
So I'm counting that as an accidental. Well, it's intentional in the moment. But most people who try to commit suicide after the fact, they say they don't, like, they won't commit suicide. They won't try it again if they accidentally try it first time. That doesn't sound very convincing, but
they will not try it again.
Yeah, most people regret doing it or attempting it.
Here's on doing this whole research thing. People who commit suicide, 5% are cutters, 7% poison themselves,
The rest. Gun.
Yeah. Isn't that wild?
So
no,
what
95.
95?
Or 90 or 92, whatever the hell was it.
I thought you said 5 and 7. So that would be 88%.
It's weird. I must have wrote the number down wrong.
You wanted it to be
Unless
higher.
people poison themselves and shot themselves. Maybe it was 85, and then the rest would be others. That would make sense. And then that's 3%.
I could never commit suicide, and if I couldn't do it by any of those means. I don't know. I don't think that.
Are you jumping off a building? Because that wasn't even on the list. That's probably under one.
I might do that actually.
It's pretty flashy.
If you're on top of a burning building, that's logical there.
Your suicide is a burning building? Yeah. I don't think that's considered suicide, is it?
Would you rather burn to death or
No, but is that called a suicide?
I don't know.
I don't think it is. If you're in a building that's on fire and if the flames have come to the 90th floor and you're on 91 and you jump and die, I don't think the coroner says cause of death, suicide, jumping.
Do you think the insurance claims, they come in like he jumped?
Ooh.
That would be an interesting. It's like World Trade Center, the person who jumps, it's like you don't get the reward. I don't know. That would be. I want to look this up.
Shit, I want to know because I feel like insurance companies are slimy enough to do that.
Yeah,
that's insane. Ooh, Mrs. Rochester. We just looked into it. Her husband's death was Rochester. I'm really sorry. What do you mean? He was in 9/11. He jumped. We have video evidence. It's like. Can you Google something like that? Like, I feel like that's way too complicated.
The first website that popped up is Catholic.com.
Oh, no.
I'm not going to... I'll do Yahoo Answers because that's less official. Someone said staying in the fire would be suicide, too. So I guess that's kind of true.
That's a good point. I mean... Because you have a chance of landing on a magical ferry or something?
It is logical, I guess. You could potentially survive somehow. Like those people that skydive and land in a bush, and they're like, maybe break their legs or something, but they're still alive.
That's wild. I never heard that. That's kind of cool. So, guns.
Yeah, what was the rate? You wanted to compare United States versus everybody else?
Oh, what? Yeah, let's go into that. Let's go to the United States, baby. We're a gun nation. Woo!
So the United States has what? Per person, each person has 1.2 guns.
Yeah.
They have 20% more guns than the population.
Yeah, we have 20% more guns in the United States than we have people. That's staggeringly not a good sign.
That's insane.
Although, how many do I own?
You own 2. I own 1. We're right around the average.
Wow, that's weird.
It's weird that it's like, I'm sure there's people that have like 30 to like 50
30
guns.
to throw off, right? I'm sure.
Yeah, and I guess the weird part is that that Gun Control Act of 1968 prohibits a lot of people. You would think like what? That's got to be like 2 to 5% of the United States.
Oh, I was going to say like I was like less than 5%.
Yeah,
from where you were going, but yeah. So yes, I look at it this way too. The families that will never own a firearm and don't own a firearm. There's like. You can kind of feel it, oftentimes.
Nervousness.
And then there's ones who own, like you kind of mentioned, like they own 30 and they
have a gun
more.
safe. Yeah, they have I knew somebody
a plethora,
who was really wealthy.
An ammo.
Yeah, they had a gun room down in their basement.
Good.
Yeah, it's insane. It's crazy, and also, I think like people our age are physically fit. If someone were to attack you without a gun or a knife, which seems odd that they would try, they would be expecting a fist fight at that point, and maybe it'd be kind of equal. You'd probably end up with a concussion or something.
Kind of equal.
Yeah.
I mean, you could lose, but you could also win. It's kind of equal. There's a good chance. If one side has a weapon, that probably increases their odds a lot. Knife, gun probably increases it a lot.
Mm-hmm.
What were you getting at with that? I'm sorry.
Oh, I'm just saying, like, once you get older, you lose that physicality, and you worry because you become more insecure.
Age.
Yeah, like my parents, it took them a while, maybe until they're like 50s, until they realized that like I can't fight somebody who's like 20 or 30. Like I'm just not strong enough to fight them, so I have to like balance.
Do they have firearms?
My dad owns a firearm. Yeah,
that's wild. You know what's crazy? My firearm this is the only firearm they have, and I don't know if it's legal, but I was going to do a transfer of title to them, but I figured A, we have the same name, and B, apparently if it's immediate family
Mm-hmm.
and it's somewhere where you commonly are, then it's
Mm-hmm.
considered okay. Does that make sense? I was like, oh, okay.
Familial shared firearm is legal?
I guess. Well, think about it. Husband and wife, is it?
I guess so.
Right? Because there's no way you can have to be like, no, I have to transfer it to her tonight because I'm going out on the town. No, I have to transfer it back to him. I'm going away for the weekend. Like, do you know what I mean? That wouldn't make sense.
Huh.
So I think it almost is to the household.
Interesting.
Isn't that weird? I don't know where the cutoff lies. I have no idea.
Talk about
Father, son.
gun violence in America.
Mm-hmm.
There's something.
It's ridiculous.
There's something happening downstairs. I need to give me a pause. 2 seconds.
All right.
I just
All right.
need to see what's happening because there's noises.
That's a lot of noise. He better bring a firearm. That's something. We're probably going to cut this anyway. Pander Dan and I have families, so he might already be back. But like
it's just my wife overreacting to a dog throwing up. I think.
Ooh, dog throw up.
I was hoping to see her toss some cookies as I turned the corner.
The dog is not the opposite of salt, is it?
The opposite of what?
Salt.
I don't know what you're talking about.
Okay.
I don't get it still.
So gun violence is bad in America.
Mm-hmm.
We're literally the worst. We're the worst at it.
Not only do we have twice as many guns as the next country, the homicide rate is like, what, 10 times or something ridiculous?
10 times. I think we're 10 times worse than the next closest state. We are gunviolence.com, which is funny because we glorified the Wild West. And probably from then, pew, 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 revolvers, 6-shooters, vigilante.
Yeah.
Well, that's kind of where it started, right?
Yeah.
Expanding west.
I don't know. Do you think this is stereotypical, but the Middle Eastern countries, do you think they record their gun violence at all? Do you think it's like war-torn nations are like, this is a gun-related death?
So, interestingly enough, well, you'll know when it's a gun-related death. I think it gets recorded regardless. What might not be recorded is your glorification of guns, when guns were involved, stuff like that.
Mm-hmm.
And you're right, there's...
Not to dismiss that we have 10 times.
Process.
They usually have
never getting...
First-class nations or like developed nations. That's the pool we usually get put in. And it's
Mm-hmm.
still 10 times the developed nations. The nations that
Right.
are
Did
civilized.
you see it when it adjusted to population density? It
Per
should
capita,
be on
per capita somewhere.
the Vox article. Yeah. So actually, when you adjust for population density and everything else, Finland was pretty close to us. I believe it was Finland.
Really?
We were like, yeah, we were still like 2 times as high as them, but they were, and it might be on the video, which you probably can't watch right now. It might not have been one of the graphs, but I think it was. Anyway, we were still the highest among the people. So the big
firearm. Wait.
Go ahead.
I guess total. So I'm going to do total. This is a combination of homicide, suicide, unintentional, and undetermined. So the United States obviously has more guns than anybody, but Honduras, Venezuela, El Salvador.
This is a different graph. I saw this one.
Yeah. At Swatini, I don't know that. Guatemala, Jamaica, Brazil, Colombia, Panama, and then the United States.
That's not bad.
Yeah, what it tells you is don't go to South America or Central America. Well,
yeah, pretty much.
Because the total is a lot more. It's like 5 times more.
So what's
firearm-related deaths per capita?
That's crazy. Did you see mass shootings used to happen once every 6 months? I know we're jumping a little bit, but mass shooting is kind of the next big thing everyone's talking about after the recent events or past events. I'll just say recent events because
it's probably
by the time
this
releases, it's
going
to happen
again. We
again.
had like something like 200 mass shootings compared to the next country, which had like 5.
4, 5. Next country which had 4. Next country which had like 2. Next country
Yeah.
which had 1. Next country had 1. Next country had
So
1. And it's like,
why?
whew.
Why?
I guess because we think guns are cool. That's part of it, right?
Yeah. Well, there's
We
a
fetishize guns. We think it's sexy. It's cool. We have more of them than people lying around.
yeah. So they're
We're gonna
easy to
end up in
get.
all hand. Yeah, they're easy to get, even if you didn't do the background check.
I think these
Half
people.
the time when these shootings happen, it's like, oh, well, let's check. He got him legally. Oh, he got him illegally. Who cares? There are millions and millions of guns lying around. People will get them.
Yeah, I think these people are trying to prove a point, and when they see other people do it, they think it does prove a point. And then it also has the social media Instagram culture where you're like,
slow down. This is interesting because they're seeing, so all the shooters you're saying, and I'm not putting words in your mouth. I'm not trying to say I'm not doing that, but I'm talking through this.
Yeah.
So all the people who are shooters or whatever have seen past shooters and kind of glorify that.
yeah, I think there's like a desperation quotient for like people who are like, I guess suicide goes along with that. People who are
Yeah, it's definitely suicidal because
crime of desperation.
They plan to die when they do this.
So like the United States is also very high on crimes of desperation. It's like for some reason people here, even though
That's interesting.
it's that they feel like they can't get out of whatever they're in. So there's people that are like, again, it's multiples. It's like 10 times where people commit these crimes of desperation because they're stuck. I guess being the wealthiest country also creates people who are looking at the wealthiest people. Yeah, and then they figure that it's not like this is not where they're supposed to be, and that's what they do.
Well, this is weird. This is almost why certain Muslim or Middle East countries say they hate the United States for this exact reason you're saying. They glorify wealth. They don't care about family. All they care about is posting Instagram pictures and looking beautiful, and it's very shallow and there are no values to it.
Family values are on the decline, I think, too.
They could be. I mean, it's tough to tell. I don't even know if you can do a study for that. I'm sure there's a
my study is how many of your neighbors do you really know?
I've recently become very friendly with my neighbors because I was chopping wood shirtless the other day.
Stacy
and one neighbor came over to me with a beer, a gentleman.
Oh, nice.
And said, you could use this. And he talked, and we talked for 20 minutes. As soon as he left, my elderly Asian neighbor came over with an Asian brand soda. I can't pretend to pronounce it or anything. And said, you need to stop chopping wood. This is for you. And I was like, oh my God, you don't have to. Oh, please. And she was like, no, have this. And she gave it to me. And then like within 24 hours, someone knocked at our door and gave us flowers. And was like, I have extra flowers. They're running around. You better take them. And I was like, okay, thanks. And everyone is like, your neighbors are in love with you. And I was like, who wouldn't be? But in general, you're right. Just not this guy.
Huh.
Yeah, I bet you didn't know that. Now I know my neighbors more than ever. But most people don't know their neighbors the same. But I think that has more to do with the internet and stuff.
And you're also living in a suburb in a house with grass and people see green.
Yeah.
I guess a majority of the city dwellers might not see green. They might not be in a condition where they have their own space.
It is interesting. More
on edge.
No. On city, actually, you know your neighbors better.
You think so? Do you think you rely on them more?
Yeah.
They're around more?
You know
you
them
bump
better,
into them because the physical space is smaller.
Yeah, 100%. And then, like, because I have a lot of land between me and the neighbor, I'm like, oh, I got to mow it. I got to do this to it. When I work in the city, like, everyone knows everyone a little bit because it's in a smaller area. You have more communal spots. Like, you might have to take public transportation where he does too, and she does too, and you go by the same spots. So I won't get into the...
Well, that's an odd stat because I think that most of the mass shootings in America happen actually in suburban areas. Or like the killers are from the suburbs. Because
they don't know their neighbors. I'm telling you, there's this thing about mass shootings where I would say 90% of them are white, male, and in the 30-year-old range.
Yeah, I guess the people who have missed felt like they missed something in life.
Yeah. Well, it's weird because that's the most privileged class, right? So we would say they're the ones who should have the most leg up.
Yeah.
Sure. Yeah, right. I'm not saying they do, but let's say they do. When they're not successful, maybe they feel like they missed something. I don't know.
The most regret for not
Well,
achieving, underachieving, most underachieving.
For not well they wouldn't say they underachieved. They would say they blame society for not letting them achieve.
Yes.
Everyone else in this area gets something, but I didn't. It's like so here's the thing, a practice I do. You keep making that Windows fail
That's
sound.
not. There's another computer in this room that's stealthily beeping at me. I don't know how to turn that off.
So the most interesting thing you can do, and I don't think it's right, but it brings light weird questions and weird answers, is take a side of something that's ridiculous and pretend it's the good guy.
Yeah. So assume their perspective.
Yeah, because they think they're the good guy, whoever this is. I still don't know what the hell the Las Vegas shooter was doing.
That's like the Garlic Festival shooter. Yeah, I don't know what he was doing either. The Vegas guy.
What the hell?
Why he was just like seeing if he could do it? Like, come on.
It's been 2 years. Can you give me a story? It's weird.
It's weird that people can take their hate out on random people. Like, you can't empathize with a single person in that crowd.
Listen, I could see someone shooting like everyone who cut them off on 76 or something. Like that makes sense.
Cause and reaction, yeah.
Sure. I don't get when you don't know a group of people. What are you doing?
Yeah.
They could be just as bad or worse off than you. Is it just someone who has no empathy, I guess? I have no idea.
Sociopath? Psychopath?
I guess they have to be. I don't know. I touched on something a second ago we were going to go into. I forget what that was.
The Las Vegas shooter, you still don't know why? I don't know why. I will look that up, though.
You can look it up, dude. You're going to find so many web pages. It's not going to give you a proper answer. It's just weird. Did you know we don't have more? God damn, that's weird.
Not determined. It is weird.
Weird.
So that guy was like what, on like the 20th floor or something, just shooting out into a concert
Bay or something, shooting into a chesney. Is his name right? Chesney. I said it backwards. That's so funny. Yeah. I usually do that on purpose. I did that by accident. Kenny Chesney concert, like just unloading into strangers. No one knows where it's going. Like this is also a weird thing. The people who do this tend to be, I want to say, unhinged. They want to be like they're in a war game or a war movie.
Yeah. So I guess reality is warped for them. So a lot of people, when this stuff happens, they always take it out on video games. They say video games prepare you for it, and they make it so you're desensitized. Do you feel desensitized by playing Call of Duty?
No, absolutely not. No. You should see how scared I was to shoot my 9mm firearm in a shooting range. After in video games, I shot millions of Nazis in the head, like point blank, like with extreme accuracy. And then when I came to really shoot one, I was like terrified. I was pooping my pants. Now I got more comfortable with it and everything, but it had nothing to do with the video game. You know what I think,
yeah, in order for you to feel comfortable, you have to have grenades and a knife, and you have to be wearing a flak jacket.
Where I think have martyrdom. Yeah. I don't know if I die. Grenade ding, ding, ding.
Son of a bitch.
No, where I think video games are bad is that a kid who might not know better might try to use a firearm or something for the first time and think it's normal.
So that's like that fear.
That's a first time thing. That's not like a adult recurring thing or a mass shooter thing. I don't think. Again, I don't know. They have to do more research. And if they had only done more research before 1996, when Congress cut the CDC funding for gun violence research. Oops. Did you come across that?
I did not. They cut the funding for it?
Oh, yeah. CDC was getting funded by Congress, and in 1996 they passed an act that cut the funding for gun violence research that they were doing. They just cut it out of the blue. Interesting. I'm not saying the NRA did it, but
so that goes along with like securing your gun. There are a lot of stories of like people just like leaving a gun out and a child gets it, and it's just like, yeah, that would ruin me. And I take the precautions to make sure that they would have to know the combination of the safe, and for them to know it means that they're of a certain mind, that they're capable, you would think.
Sure.
And it's also very high off the ground, so they'd have to climb up there too. So there's effort involved. If they were to get in there and look at it and play with it, by that age I should have told them and explained to them the seriousness of the gun. Like if I can't. So
do you plan on explaining guns to them and letting them see them and maybe learning to use them by like a certain age? I have no idea.
What age would it be? I was thinking like you probably don't want to do it like right at puberty, but like maybe shortly after.
I was thinking puberty because like 13, 14 is when you're like you can be. I mean, it's not like they're sexually turned on by the gun like the rest of America.
But you have a lot of angst when you hit puberty because you have no idea what's happening.
True, but
there's a seriousness that comes along with being pubescent, right?
Yeah, I guess so. I guess.
And idiocy too, but I think that's part of it, is that you expect there's idiocy, so you're trying to combat the idiocy by explaining to them this is what it is and how to not use it improperly.
You make it real serious. You make it serene. You have to make it, but I don't want to glorify it. It's so weird.
Have you seen those? There's that one video of the kid playing with a gun. He's older, so he's like 16 or something. He's like waving it around, and then it goes off by accident because he's an idiot. Don't have a loaded gun. Don't do any of that.
Don't ever.
And his mom runs in and starts yelling and slapping him, and he cries like a little baby. He cries like a little bitch. I was gonna say little bitch, but
you didn't. Thank God you didn't. We'd be banned.
But yeah, how are you that dumb to be like you'd never play with a loaded gun ever?
So one of the guys from Chicago, a guitarist, singer, somebody, the group Chicago.
Okay, I got you.
In the park, another day in the park. 46 and 2.
Yeah, 46 and 2.
Yeah. Is it? I don't even know. 46 and 2 is a Tool song.
No, 25 and 64.
Anyway, like a man, they do a lot of songs. His party gig was he would pull out an unloaded gun at parties and I believe fake shoot himself. One time it was loaded, and I think that's how he died.
I have to fact check this one.
Oh, please do, because I mean this is like what I've heard down the grapevine. Chicago gun accidental death. Maybe.
Terry Kath?
Maybe. Like I know. I didn't research this. It's just what I've heard in musical circles.
Let me see.
Anyway, that's crazy. You imagine pulling a prank at parties that was like your big move, and then one day it fails? I hope it's true. No, I don't hope it's true. No, I do hope it's true. I'm not even sure.
Oh, no. His quote is, "Don't worry about it. Look, the clip isn't even in it." He was too stupid to realize that you can have a bullet in the chamber.
Damn. Oh.
Died instantly from the gunshot. 8 days shy of his 32nd birthday with a 2-year-old.
Damn, he was young.
Oh, yeah, 2-year-old daughter.
Damn, he's younger than us.
And then his fiancee married Keither Sutherland.
Really?
Good on her. Good job.
Wait, Kiefer?
Yeah, Kiefer.
That's wild. So hold on, check this too. So the band Chicago, I picture is older than me. Everyone in Chicago is way older than me. It's like,
it's an old band, yes. But when you listen to them, I guess you're assuming that they're older.
Yeah, I do. And isn't that weird that who was he? A guitarist?
Don't you believe that you're younger than you actually are, though? Like if you think about yourself.
We do, but let's not get into that. This is just crazy that he died by the time he was 32. So I'm older than him, and he had already recorded whatever I already heard from them. And I'm like,
Push your mic back still more. There's like a tiny little crackle, man.
You're a crackle, dude.
So what was the question? What was it? What did he play?
Just yeah. Well,
guitar, vocals, bass.
So he was already recorded the songs that I think are awesome from Chicago, and died by the time
he
was
did more
age.
than you've done. You've failed,
and
Nick.
and
you're a middle-aged white guy in the suburbs, Nick. What are you telling me?
I'm just saying.
Have you played a lot of Call of Duty? So you know exactly.
I have played a lot of Call of Duty. Have you
ever been to a favela in Brazil? Because you know the exact layout. You've been on that map before, Nick. I know where you need to set up.
I do know. We can do a whole episode on Call of Duty 4.
Yeah. I'm deciding where we want to go. I don't know where we want to go. I guess
How about this? I actually listened to. So I don't know if anyone's figured out by now, but we're kind of anti-gun without being.
We are?
Like one of the. I think we are, but like not.
I think I'm serious about guns. My awareness of guns is, I've never experienced like the best quote unquote guns, but we both realize that there's a point to the amount of power that one person should have, and that exceeds probably how much they should have.
Well, look at this. Your crime of passion. They mentioned how a gun is so instantaneous. So if you just break up with a girl or find out she's cheating, like you shoot her. It's a very quick decision, but it's final. It's so crazy that you have that power in your hand. Let's say you want to kill yourself. You could do several things, but if you shoot yourself, it's instantaneous.
You can't take that back.
No, the gun is very instantaneous. It gives you instantaneous power, and we're people who act on whims a lot. I think it's a terrible idea. I think it's awful. I think the common person will, even if it's one lapse of judgment, one time, you might shoot someone or yourself or someone, a loved one, or shoot at someone and miss and kill someone else, and it's over. It's done. It's a one and done. That's not a mistake.
So
thing, and we're mistake prone people. Is what I'm saying.
Mistake prone. So we also have this constitutional right that was created at a time when guns weren't as powerful.
Musket, baby. Woo! Yeah. Load that musket, baby. Put that musket ball in there. Gotta get the right amount of gunpowder. Hold on, everybody. Gotta get the right amount of gunpowder. We're going over here. Gotta clean that bitch. That son of a bitch. Gotta clean that bitch.
So the accuracy of guns has gone up.
Then you put the ball in. Then you have to set the trigger. Hold on. Jesus Christ. You gotta set the trigger. We got it over here. Make sure you do not point it down. Had to be pointed this way. Gravity, folks. Gravity. Then you get it in here. You get it here. One more time. You gotta check the little thingy. Check the discharge. Pull back the trigger. We're good. Trigger pull. Trigger pull. Then you look down your musket rifle, and you are ready to shoot some motherfucker with your second bullet. It's like, Jesus Christ! I could have timed a watch on that one.
20 seconds.
Yeah. So, what are you saying?
The rate of fire has gone up dramatically, and the accuracy has gone up.
Has it?
Yeah. So if you have a bump stock, it's somewhere. A bump stock is.
You're talking about AR-15s, etc., etc. Long gun.
A bump stock essentially takes out the trigger, so you can hold down the trigger and it will, I would say, vibrate or bump bullets out of your gun at a rate of, I think it was about 500 per minute.
Minute? Yeah, it sounds about right.
Sounds about right.
So we went from 2 to 3 per minute to 500.
So minute. If you were completely accurate, you could kill 500 people in a minute. That sounds outrageous, but it's not likely, but it's possible.
But it's plausible.
Yeah, plausible. And then you also go into the range of like military weapons. So you go up to like gatling guns.
Oh my god, dude! Wait, did you know there was a law? Oh, I gotta find this. Oh, please. Okay.
Gatling guns fire about 6,000 rounds per minute.
Did you know? The NFA, the National Firearms Act, any fully automatic weapon made before 1986 is fair game to civilians.
The grandfathered it in.
Yeah.
So this
there's
is
something called. Yeah, hold on. There's something called the M134 General Electric Minigun that you could buy. I don't know that they make anymore. I'm sure there's only many amount. The gun can fire up to 166 times per second.
Holy cow! So this is
That's
part.
legal.
This is in
That's
the.
legal to buy. You can buy it for your home.
But you can buy a regular gun and then put modifications on it that make it
absolutely
fire
can.
above that range. So it's not that hard for these people to be deranged and figure it out and then commit these acts.
Like, so you can buy an AK-47 here and buy parts afterwards to make it an AK-74. No, did I do that wrong?
I don't know what you're... I don't
What's
know
the famous one that everyone knows?
47 is the more famous one.
Oh, then you can buy a 74 and make it a 47. I'm sorry. Because you can't outright buy an AK-47, which is great. You shouldn't be able to. But you can buy a 74 and modify it so it shoots exactly like a 47.
So there's also this military gun that's called Metal Storm, which is the fastest shooting gun in the world.
Oh, I looked this up. Go ahead.
It's like 1 million rounds a minute.
It just came. Did it just recently come out?
No, 2016 is when the story is, but the video looks like it's from like the early 2000s. But imagine firing 1 million rounds in a minute. Like the only way that makes sense is if you're like flying very, very fast and like each bullet like has an actual time to like have different distance. So you could like spray and
spray an area. Pray. That's so wild.
Spray and pray.
I don't even know that. What is there an application that makes sense for it? Yeah, one. Theater. I can name it. It's like touch on something interesting.
Yeah. The ability to do something is a deterrent.
Guns assuage fears. It's kind of. Yes, I said it.
Assuage.
I said it. I think it's a swatch, isn't it? I've never
Down
heard
in the comments, let's see who knows better than Nick. So that brings up my next point is that I don't know if it's UK or London specifically. I think it's United Kingdom where the police officers don't actually carry guns. They call in the military.
Bobby.
Yeah.
Billy clubs, the bobby stick, a nightstick.
It's also sort of the same thing for security guards. Is that usually there are security guards that are monitoring situations. They don't carry guns, and there is like a handful of officers that do carry guns, or security officers that do. So it's not like you have the idea of police is different than you would expect for when you're a child. Is that a lot of the military or police are just there to ease the situation. They're not necessarily there to protect you or intercede.
Right.
So that happened with one of the school shootings. I know there was an officer stationed at the school, but he's securing the perimeter by preparing to engage the shooter. He's not necessarily actively going after the shooter, which is maybe a perception that confuses people a lot if they're in an active shooting situation, because they're hoping that, I guess, someone comes to save them.
Shoots down and just saves the day.
Yeah. So I guess the question there to you is, if you were in an office building or a school, what do you think you would do in that situation? Could you do anything?
I think you have to run, and I've read reports that hiding doesn't help.
So you could like barricade yourself in, but again, I've read a lot of stories of people who've not gotten away because the shooter. That's like an objective to a shooter. Like it's like, oh, well, let's see if I can break through.
What are you doing? Oh, really? You're behind this door and you're hiding?
Yeah.
I will shoot through this door. It's almost like a target that you've just put up on yourself. And if you're cornered in a room, that's not good. I don't know.
Yeah. Yeah, and I agree with you. Running is probably a pretty good choice because you're
a moving target. B, you're away.
Yeah, square
you're moving
law.
Away from the square law.
It's like if you're running away from somebody, the chance that you get shot by them is a square. Like because the area expands that much.
Absolutely expands and expands and expands and expands. And B, their attention is drawn to other things that are closer.
Yep.
Their accuracy is better at things that are closer, and they probably don't have a vendetta against you personally, right?
I would hope.
A
Yeah.
lot of these shootings are pretty random,
And
so
disclaimer: I'm not
they're
saying
like,
do this, but I would
what?
probably do that. Run.
It's not even a disclaimer. You might really be telling people a safe thing. I mean, what are they supposed to do? Stay and fight him?
It depends because you don't know the situation. There's a lot, like if there's multiple shooters or something. Like a lot of
Hmm.
what people tell you is to stay bunkered down, especially like if you're going to cause havoc. You don't want hysteria to fill the minds of people, and then hysteria kills people.
But also, running the opposite way and telling people there's a shooter might
Help.
have people just be like, whoa, we're going the hell out of here.
Yeah.
And then less people will be heading into that area. If it's like a mall or something like that. I don't know.
I've also heard situations where shooters were outside of exit doors. I think Aurora.
Really? I don't know.
I don't know if he was near the exit door or if he was just in the theater, but the people trying to get out were heading towards one of the shooters. I think there's only one shooter in that, but I think he was
yeah, that one was a one shooter. But either way, if he was near the exit, that's what he was doing. But
messed up.
It's just, it's weird, and to me, it strikes of people who are so hurt and so broken that they have to hurt and break other people, and that people will always know other people's vulnerabilities are. They know how to hurt us. They know how to kill us. They know how to do bad things to us. And I guess on two hands, on one, guns don't kill people. People do, right? Because the gun itself isn't responsible. It's the person, the deranged person, the crazy person, the weird person, the person that's just broken and needs to hurt people. They would find another way. They would find a bomb or a whatever. But on the other hand, if they weren't able to shoot 15 rounds per second of hot lead that cuts through people, like, and easily access that item, maybe they wouldn't be able to do it, right?
Yeah.
So I listened to a pro-gun podcast the other day, and it was dated the day after the two shootings, and it struck me as really weird in that they just wanted to talk about violent crime in the UK. And I did come up with the stat. So there was two things they talked about. Like, they would be like, the liberals don't want you to know so-and-so. And they always talked about the liberals and the left. They didn't refer to
political
the
agenda.
general public. Yeah, it was very politically charged. It was like right out the gate. They were like, here we are at Gun Chat. The liberals don't want you to hear this. And I was like, okay, what's going on? Let's open mind. I want to hear what he's got to say. I forget his name. He said, did you know in the UK, crime is up ever since they cut down on gun use? And there is an actual stat. There are 2,034 violent crimes per 100,000 people in the UK. They did it by person because we have different populations. In America, it said there are 466 violent crimes per day per 100,000 in the US. So that's like 5 times more. Most of them involve knives and stuff like that. I don't know if they count bottles and fights over soccer clubs and stuff like that. But I was like, okay. The next thing they talked about was how now the liberals are going to come for the guns, and they need to realize that guns help people. You know, it's very pertinent because this is right after the shooting. They said liberals are going to say, we need to end gun violence now before the bodies are even in the ground. We here think it's more important to think about those who died by gun violence.
So you'll
but
unitarian, right?
Wild.
Utilitarian?
Utilitarian, I am. Mm-hmm. Good.
So you're gonna
hark on the greater amount of people.
So yeah, so this always bothers me too, is that when it does happen, it happens to a very small percentage, not discounting the souls that die, but the balance that guns allow, it evens the playing field for people who actually want to do harm with guns. You don't hear the stories of people who have a gun and prevent something.
So that's what he brought up. He had a stat I'd never heard. He said, Stacy, I have you on here today. And she says, absolutely. And it was this woman who wrote an article that said 164 acts a day are good acts held by lawful gun owners. They stop crimes. They prevent people from being hurt by bears and animals. They stop other people from bullying other people or shooting other people. Just good guy gun thing.
Yep.
We said there's 160 some a day.
Stand your ground.
Yeah. And the liberal media never talks about it, and they felt hurt by it.
So there's the law of coming to the aid of someone who is in harm's way and peril. Yeah.
It's like immediate peril. Has a weapon, I believe. Immediate threat.
Immediate threat to someone else. Like the typical one is if your neighbor is being attacked by somebody, you're allowed to draw your weapon on them and prevent them from continuing to attack them.
Yeah, that makes sense. I mean, if someone's hitting someone with a bat over and over,
you can shoot them too. I mean, don't shoot them in the back though. If they're fleeing already, you're not allowed to shoot them.
Or you shoot them in the back if they're hitting someone over the head with a baseball bat over and over, and you're behind them.
The trick is to kick them from behind in the back.
The trick is
like a donkey.
The trick is circling over until you're
constantly circling around.
Yeah.
You can't shoot me in the back. Can't shoot me in the back, and then punch backwards. I'm surprised that's not like a martial art.
Here's the weird thing about that whole podcast I listened to. It was 40 minutes long. He had sponsorships from every gun company I could think of.
Oh, Christ.
Because I kept talking and I was like, Jesus Christ. The thing that stuck with me is he said, everyone who's a gun carrier has to be responsible. You're responsible for your children. You're responsible for your wife. You're on your own. You have to consider everything as a threat. And I was like, okay. I mean, what you got here? And he said, according to so-and-so, most people are in code white. You got to be in code red 24/7.
No, man, too much work.
You can't wear basketball shorts. You got to wear your good clothes, your concealed carry. You got every weapon on you at all time because you don't know when it's going to happen. And I was like, oh my God, this is a lot of work. And he was like, we're in a world now that's at array. It's disarray. We have to be ready. We have to ready to strike. You have to hone your craft. And I was thinking to myself, Jesus Christ. And then he mentioned a class you could take for X amount of dollars. And it was just, exactly. But it was just crazy that he thinks, and many people think, you have to be on anti-shooter mode at all time. You have to be with your hand at your hip where your gun is and know where it is at all times. You have to, every time you enter a building, know where the exits are. You have to know at all points where your children are and have an escape plan. If you go to a new restaurant, you should know how to get out. And I was like, Jesus Christ, I go to a restaurant, I got to know how to get out? And then he said something ridiculous. It was like, if you know, if you're in a restaurant with your children and your family and you hear a loud noise, could be gunfire, don't just think it might not be. You assume the worst. You get up and you get out. Worst case scenario, you come back and say, oh, it wasn't gunfire. I'll pay my bill.
It's kind of true. But
I don't
to be so paranoid, it's absurd.
To be that way all the time is insane. And a person like that, like, he buys the products that they're talking about. He's buying body armor. He's buying the firearms. He's buying ammo. He's training. He might pay for training. He's on red alert all the time. What the hell is that? Like, you're always thinking of escape routes in a shooting scenario? Jesus Christ, dude. These people spend money on the podcast. They spend money on this. It's a lifestyle. And it's downright scary. They have their concealed carry at him at all time. This is what he said to his viewers. He could
Is there a limit to the number of concealed carry guns you can have?
He might get 5.
Have you just had one on every part of your body that was concealed?
I had it for one day. I was uncomfortable. I didn't want it. Not for me. Like, these people, the other side, the people who love guns so much.
Yeah. Extremists.
Oh my God. Like, they almost want to create a war scenario where they're at war. They're always ready.
They're vehement about it.
Yeah. Because he said, don't be at white where you're calm and everything's peaceful. You're at red.
Go red.
If you're not at red, you're going to be dead. You have to be surveying every situation. And this is a crazy thing. If you're surveying every situation, you're putting your money into it. You're putting your time into it. This is your lifestyle. You're looking for trouble. You're looking for friggin' shootings. You're looking for all this shit. It's kind of scary.
Mm-hmm.
You carry with you at all times. You're always ready to pull your trigger. Always ready to pull your friggin' gun out. Like, I don't want that person around me either. I have an uncle who carries a firearm with him at all times, right? He's a little overweight. He's a little older, and now he shakes. So every time he goes to grab it,
no.
he pulls it
Oh,
and
no.
goes like this a little bit, and he hits it, and he hits this. And I'm like, oh my God, Jesus Christ. Oh my God, point it over here. Oh my God, Jesus
This is
Christ.
like a driver's license. Like if you're too old to drive, you should have it revoked. But you can't revoke it based on age.
Retake a test.
Yes.
You should. I agree.
But you don't have to prove that you can fire a gun to own a gun.
You don't have to prove you can fire a gun to have a concealed carry permit.
Yeah. It's nuts.
It's crazy.
Yeah.
Like, we're letting crazy people have guns. And I'm not talking about crazy like we discussed earlier, mental illness.
Defined as
I
crazy.
mean, right. We're talking about people who are just obsessed with an idea.
Quirky people.
I don't like it.
So there's also the craziness of like Winchester. Have you heard of the Winchester House? Is the widow of, I don't know, damn it, Mr. Winchester.
Yeah, of course. Good. I don't care.
She built a house that was so convoluted because she feared the deaths of the Native Americans. Their souls were coming after her. So she literally built a house that was too confusing to navigate so they couldn't find her.
Like the house in the Jack Nicholson movie, The Shining.
Shining, yeah. This one is in, I think, San Jose. Winchester House.
You know the Shining thing, right?
Yeah.
The house didn't make actual sense.
Oh, no, I didn't hear this one.
Yeah, so logistically, the hotel didn't make sense. If you actually paid attention to the camera cuts, what was left, what was right, what was the stairwell, what was here, what was there. Purposely, the director, I think it was Kubrick, made it so that the house couldn't physically exist. Like if you looked at all the doors on the left, it's impossible.
There's no exit.
If you went downstairs. No. If you went downstairs, the fire thing and the stairwell, which were right directly behind you in the scenes, wouldn't make sense because that couldn't go to the left. He made a hotel that was impossible to kind of mess with you, make you feel like it was like fake.
Like it was not a contiguous building.
Correct.
That's kind of interesting. I kind of want to watch it now and see.
Well, just look up the articles in that. They'll give you the shortcuts.
enough.
So yeah, watch the whole thing. Yeah. Good.
So there is another element to this, besides the insanity that guns might cause. There's a show called 19-2. Have you ever heard of it?
No, I have not.
There's one episode, number 1 in season 2, where they actually have a school shooting, and they do it in one take. It is very impressive to watch. It's very frightening, and it's impressive. I'll just say it's impressive. You should watch it, because it goes through so the police are coming to a school, and it's following the police as they're trying to clear the building, and there's so much confusion and people wondering what's happening the whole time as they walk through the building.
There's so much confusion and a car accident where no one knows who did it. So everyone's giving you weird information. Some people say this, some people say the opposite. Some people say no, there's only 3 cars. Some people say it's 2 cars, and it's like that's a 2-car accident. When you're staring at it, yeah, there are people staring at it. When you talk at a shooting where multiple people are involved, timelines, individuals, hearsay, who broke in when, other people, they went over here, no, I saw them go over here, there's 2 of them, no, there's 5 of them, there's 2 of them, there's 3 of them, there's 2 of them, there's 5 of them, Jesus Christ. It's when that stuff happens, that's what breeds the misinformation too that you see on the internet. Conspiracy theory type things.
Yeah. So do you believe in waiting periods for guns? Like what do you think should be done? 100%. Yeah. I agree. There should be like 3 days seems like enough to cool down from whatever you're pissed off about.
I own firearms, and I don't care if they restrict guns owning to M3.
My objective is weeks away, maybe years away even.
Give month. I don't give a damn. This is the thing to think of. We used to own guns for what? We said at the beginning of the episode, so the government could overthrow you or
Protect
come
you
at
from
you.
the government, or protect you from an invader, or Native Americans back in the 1700s.
What the hell is a handgun going to do against the government who could drop an atom bomb on my house if they really want to? There's literally nothing a handgun can do to protect me from the government.
You could shoot it out of midair. Like if you could see it and just like...
No, it wouldn't work. I'm pretty sure it would keep falling. 100% it would keep falling.
I'm pretty sure it would keep falling. But there's a chance.
Even if we shot freaking...
It's plausible.
No, I don't think
it's plausible that you could ignite...
I'm pretty sure you're screwed if the government...
Pretty sure means it's plausible.
No.
Prove me wrong, Nick. Prove me wrong.
I'm going to take on the government with a handgun.
No, you're not. So I think, does that cover everything you wanted to? There was one stat that I think 25 million actually do get a background check, but of that 25 million, there's like 5,000 or 6,000 people that don't. So
really,
yeah.
Is that the gun loophole or whatever the hell it's called? We didn't even talk about hunting, which actually isn't bad. I don't mind hunting.
Yeah, necessity to survive. Which states have the most guns? It's like Montana, North Dakota.
Is it? That was on one of the graphs.
Wilderness states, yeah.
That makes sense.
Yeah, I mean, there are parts of the country that you're rural enough that you actually need a gun to feed yourself, kill a deer, and eat the venison. You might need to protect yourself from predators.
You might need to protect yourself from deer.
Predators.
And you might need an AK-47. Mow down this beast. That's the other thing that gets me. It's kind of weird. Like, you should only be able to own what you could hunt with, right?
Yeah, that makes sense. Yeah.
And even a pistol, whatever, that's cool. Go for it. When you talk about like fully semi or fully automatic weapons with like large caliber bullets that just shoot like 50 rounds per second or whatever, and you're going to town and going crazy, are you going to need that for a deer? Like, that's what I think of. I'm like, you really need an AK-47 to take down your deer? Like, yeah. I don't think you need that.
I brought my guns with me.
It's like a man's M-Buster.
Yeah. It's an indoctrination of a nation. Make a man. Getting those guns. I need to own 8 more to complete the level.
Now, don't get me wrong. I think video games do teach us that we need shooters. My son calls all guns shooters. I refuse to let him call them guns.
We need to know the reality, even though that's not a reality, the aftermath of shooting a gun.
I did read an article called What Happens to a Human Body After a Bullet Hits It or something.
Oh,
it was like really detailed. And I was like, holy shit. Just the metals and the lead. Back in the day,
it's like the cavitation that like rips apart your insides. It does more than just penetrate. It literally kind of explodes and expands your insides so that they get
effects afterwards.
Yeah. Ugh. There's a ripple effect. I think that covers it.
That's everything. But it's weird. There's so much more to talk about. I mean, the glorification of guns in America. We could talk about that for a whole episode.
Yeah.
We totally have it. I love guns. And I'm against guns. Does that make sense?
I think this concludes our episode.
Oh, jeez. I'm cutting this short.
Do you want to keep going?
I don't know. There's something I'm missing, and I don't remember what it was.
Do you want to keep talking to yourself as I take a piss? Because that's what I got to do.
I knew it. Why don't you do it and see what happens?
You think, for those of us that are still with us, Nick will supply the entertainment for the next minute.
I will. Well, folks, there's a weird thing with guns. Like, I love them. I'm in between. I don't do the whole, we need guns for everybody and everybody should have their guns. But I also don't do the whole, no one should have guns. Like, we should outlaw guns entirely. I will never own a gun. I'm in between, as you clearly see. I fired a firearm. I've owned a few firearms. It's just, I don't think, if they told me tomorrow, if Obama told me tomorrow, ex-president, I know, this is not that dated, we're coming for your guns. I'd be like, go ahead, dude, take them. I don't care. Can you pay me for them? Can you give back the money I paid for them? I'd be fine with that. It's like, I think guns are cool. I think guns are a sweet science. There's something explosive and fiery and powerful about them. And think about them in movies and stuff is kind of cool. But practically, I don't know how often they get used. I heard that stat 160 times a day or something. Someone is saving a life or something via guns. Stat is probably bullshit. There probably is sometimes where a gun is useful. There's sometimes where I'm glad someone has a gun. There's sometimes where a gun solved the problem. Just that finality, that ultimatum, that's not... I don't trust people. A Dan shaking off? Probably.
You're sitting here quietly.
No. I was actually talking until you showed up. I was kind of wrapping it up. So I was talking about as guns are cool in that they're powerful, they're beefy. We talked about alpha male.
Leveling the playing field.
Absolutely.
And I totally support a woman that has a concealed carry. If there's anybody that should have one, it's someone who is not as physically intimidating. And
I think women are physically intimidating.
Some people do feel intimidated by women, Nick. Especially you.
That's fair. So, but the thing is, I thought was that finality of a gun, that you can pull the trigger and end someone's life, like almost anyone's life, if you had them. It shouldn't be available to anyone who's human, because we're irrational. Like, I could decide tomorrow to do the craziest thing in the world. I don't think I should have that power. I mean, it's one thing to say, hey, the mentally ill can't have it.
So
yeah, we all agree with that.
They should put delays on the bullet. Like, you should, like, pull the trigger, think about it, and then come back.
Damn. Wait, Chris Rock had a whole bit. Motherfucker, if bullets cost $1,000 a piece, no one in the hood be shooting anyone. And I'm like, that's his like whole bit. And I was like, that's the stupidest bit. And I was like, that's a genius bit. Because if ammunition costs that much, you would think 10 times before you do it. Even if you're going to jail, you're like, I don't have that kind of money. Jesus Christ.
You wouldn't have the bullet to begin with.
Yeah, I'd be like, oh, geez, I'm not buying a bullet. So it's not the gun, it's not the bullet. People kill people. We'll agree with that, right? It's the people.
Yeah, I agree.
But what else can you friggin' do with a gun? How many other options do you have with a gun? I can go target shooting.
Hunting.
Hunting.
Could be for skill or sport. Clay discs.
We'll put that on
shooting foul.
To target shooting. That's target shooting. You just pick a different animal.
Sure.
Is that it?
Defense.
Yeah. That's killing people, but I'll give you a...
Yeah.
Sure.
Yeah. Militia.
That's killing people too. You just picked a different... Anyway. It's just weird. Guns are cool. Guns are awesome. I love... If I play Call of Duty, I know what... No. This is serious.
Okay.
From video games, I know what an MP4 is. I know what a long gun is. I know what an AK-47 is. Like, I know all these guns. Yeah. It's cool. Oh, M16, dude. Oh,
you know the recoil of them?
Oh, I know recoil on this shit.
How many bullets you get? How long it takes to reload?
Yes, I do. 100% I do. Shotguns. How many bullets you get in a shotgun? But I don't know that I want to use them in real life. Is that a weird thing? I don't know.
So if I had unlimited finances, I would own probably a handgun, rifle of some sort.
A shotgun?
Shotgun, and then I'd probably own like some, like as high a firing gun as you possibly could, legally. It sounds ridiculous. Like that's the next tier.
Minigun or something like that?
Yeah, your 1970s minigun, whatever one that was. Like it would be like an M16 or an AK-74 modified. I don't know if that's not legal, but it'd be a a self-defense gun. Like, it would be like a mob is coming after me gun. Like, you could rationalize that might happen in the future.
Who's the mob
The zombies are coming. You can think about anything.
You're right. When I think of that, I'm like, okay, that's okay.
It's the hysteria that you are hysteric by thinking of people who are also hysteric, right? If you're legitimizing hysteria 100%. In groups of people doing stuff.
Nothing I consider as a normal situation.
Because humans are the most dangerous thing on the planet. You could rationalize that they could do anything. And if they own an AK-47, you better own one too. If all your neighbors had an AK-47, you'd be like, whoa. What?
So it's an arms race a little bit.
Yeah.
So because we own firearms, we need to own firearms. And even on top of that, what's crazy is people say, hey, there are shooters out there, mass shooters. There are people who go rogue and do wild things. I wish more people had a firearm, concealed carry. So more guns is the answer? I'm not saying it is or it isn't. I'm just like...
You can't take the guns away. I mean, Australia did have incidents that caused them to revoke gun rights. And then all of the guns that they could possibly collect, they did. I don't think you can do that in America because the amount of guns and the
numbers of people.
Yeah,
if every one person grabbed a gun, you still couldn't do it.
Yeah.
Wow.
And the people that are using guns for nefarious purposes, they're still going to be able to get a gun from somewhere. I really feel like they could find somebody who owns a gun and take it from them.
I agree with you, but the other problem with America is that there are more guns than people. There are plenty of guns to take.
Yeah, and you're not going to get them all. That was a good finishing point. This concludes our episode.
Folks, thanks for listening. We talked about gun violence. So hold on. Let's keyword drop. Gun violence. Children with guns.
Gun control.
Have kids. Any guns that
NRA.
I don't care if a man and man gun,
Barrel.
A man and woman gun have kids. Whoever has kids is called a gun kid. Barrel.
Why are sawed-off shotguns illegal? I don't know. Is the spray?
I don't think they are.
Must be the spray. No, they are illegal.
All sawed-off shotguns?
Uh-huh. It might be a state
every I've ever played. Hotline Miami? Have you played that game?
No.
You've never played Hotline Miami?
I have not.
Jesus Christ, I gotta send him a message immediately after this. Anyway, gun violence is crazy because video games make it happen, we've decided. Our politicians send their thoughts and prayers, which I think is great. Right?
Mm-hmm.
So one side says gun control, we're going to take all the guns away. One side says we're going to send thoughts and prayers and we need more God.
Yeah, talked about homicide.
We're somewhere in between, and we talked about
homicides, suicides, accidental discharge. Nick showed his hollow points, his sig, my high point. I did not show. I thought it was not couth.
Appropriate.
Yeah, I don't know. It's probably going to get you banned. Me banned by association. Talk about background checks. The National Instant Background Check System. I'm sure there's an extra word in there.
NICS.
NICS. Yes. And
we talked about bullets, what they do, legal recourse, school shootings.
Metal Storm, Gatling gun.
Did we talk about bulletproof backpacks? Oh my God.
That's a new thing? Protect your child?
Yeah. Oh, I swear to God, you can buy bulletproof backpack for a kid. And I'm like,
you want to talk about heroes to finish it?
Are there heroes?
So there are teachers and students that put themselves in the way.
So the heroic, they do get recognized in the news, but then it's over.
Yes.
This sounds fucked up, but there's no movie about them. I don't see their face. I don't know what they look like. I don't remember their story.
Attention.
Yeah,
I don't want to give media attention to the shooter.
Right, all right. Oh, we're not trying to give media attention to the shooter, but right now we have, and I'm like, who is it? What is he doing? What is his motive? It's weird.
So let's just
Because I
say,
want to know.
for the people that put their lives out there to protect other people and do
God
the right
bless
thing.
him. Seriously, that's the bravest thing you can do.
Yeah, I wish if my son goes to a school that happens, I hope there's someone that protects him. Someone that values his life more than their own.
My neighbor said he's not going to send his daughters to school because of school shootings. They're going to homeschool. And I was like, that's the stupidest. That's crazy. Wow. Wow. That's fucked up. And I didn't know what to say. He's in the military. He's in the military.
Do you reconsider sending your kid to public school?
I guess not.
To any school. I guess private school can happen too.
My kid's going to go to one of the biggest public schools on the East Coast. It's weird. Is that bad that it's the biggest? There's the most kids. There's the most problems. There's the most chance. I don't know. I didn't think of this before I had a kid. I didn't think of this before this episode.
Shit.
Anyway, I don't care if they come for all our weapons as long as we keep the ones we have. I can't buy new ones. That's fine. I got enough. Sound right?
Nah. There's no easy answer.
There is no easy answer. It's weird.
What the answer actually is, I think, is better mental health, better checks, waiting time, and
oh, dude, 7-week waiting time. I don't care.
Better health care.
Better health care.
Mental health care, so that people can actually get diagnosed and figure things out.
Let's take a course.
Yeah, learn how to actually fire a gun, protect other people.
Red flag laws.
What laws?
Red flag.
What's a red flag law?
So anytime you call on someone, you call the police, you say, my son is acting really deranged. I don't know what he's doing.
Red flags.
They say, listen, ma'am, he hasn't committed a crime. Nothing's wrong. He's a rightful gun owner. We can't do anything.
Should there be...
Two of the past 3 mass shooters
have been red flags.
Yeah, like his mother or someone else called and said, I think he's going to do something. He's acting drastic. But no one can do anything because that's hearsay. I mean...
Should there be a unit inside local police that takes care and checks out and does all that stuff? What could they do to prevent it?
What can they do? I don't freaking know. They
go
to his house and say, hey, you going to shoot people? And he's like, no. And they're like, okay, talk to you tomorrow. Like, you can't take his weapons, can you? I don't know.
Surveillance, maybe.
Maybe. But that's money and time and everything else.
It might be worth it.
Not if it's millions of times and it doesn't prevent
what the media needs to do is sensationalize the stories of people preventing these things. It's like, don't share the killer's perspective, just the heroes.
That'd be cool, but I don't know. Listen, hero perspective, tragedy. Who knows?
We like you,
folks.
Viewers, folks.
We like you. Thanks for tuning in. Check our socials. Check our shit. Go for it.
Good night.